want to say something about Kyle Vannoy too. I know we chatted about him a while back. He has obviously the connections with BYU, with Michael Davis, and then obviously with J.C. Jackson. And one thing that he chatted a lot about with him is, man, what's it like over there with the Chargers? And he chatted with a ton of people within the team: Derwin, Michael Davis, J.C. Jackson, I believe even Khalil Mack, I believe too. Chatted with them, and they all were like, you better get out here, man. This is where you need to be, man. And so
that's awesome.
Nothing but high marks for basically Brandon Staley. And once again, Brandon Staley wants championship level guys, and he's done it again. And I'm so excited about the season. I can't wait for the season to start. I cannot wait.
I dream about it, man. It's unbelievable. It's bad. I need therapy because I think about it all the time. It's not good. It's not good. I'm not joking. It's like I sit back and think about, oh my God, this is gonna be amazing.
Bolt up 24/7.
All right, guys. Hello and welcome to the Bolt Bros. This is the podcast series where we talk about the Chargers, our favorite topic by far, and their opponents. With you as always, I am Andrew, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, my two brothers, James and Kyle. Kyle's sporting our new Bolt Bros sunglasses.
And
so yeah, description below if you guys want to get some of them, You looking fresh. But let's get into it. Bolt Bros, let's go.
Let's go.
So guys, in today's episode, we'll be talking about Bryce Callahan and Kyle Vannoy, or KVN as a lot of people like to call him, our free agent pickups we had after the draft, which I think is absolutely fantastic, right? I mean, it's one of the things Telesco and Staley talked about, that there's going to be a second wave of free agency, and we're already seeing it happen right now, which is amazing. And we're going to undraft, or we're also going to highlight the undrafted free agents we picked up after the draft as well. We're really only going to talk about the players we think that actually have a good shot of making the squad this year. We don't want to get too long-winded on this, but let's just focus on some of the folks. You guys know we're going to be covering what's happening in training camp and, everything happening in preseason. So we'll be talking about players that are going to be moving up and down the ranks on, they could make the squad moving forward. So, as we say every time, smash that like. Leave us your thoughts and comments. We love it when you make comments on our videos. Again, the reason why us brothers did this is to communicate with the Charger fan base, right? This is the whole point of us doing this, right?
Absolutely.
We talk about the Chargers all the time, but we want to talk to you guys as well. So please leave some comments, leave some thoughts, and let's get into it, guys. Bolt Bros.
Yeah,
Bolt Bros.
Bolt up.
Bolt up. Let's go.
Bolt up.
Bye-bye.
Bolt Bros. Alrighty, guys. Let's first get into our first free agent signing, Bryce Callahan. And I think what we should do is we should probably pass to James, since he did a reaction video on it, and then I'll give my first thoughts on Kyle Vannoy. A little bit of a recap of what we already posted, but James, why don't you give us a few thoughts on Bryce Callahan and what's your thoughts of him and how he fits in the scheme of the Chargers?
Yeah, it was an interesting thing when the signing happened. One of my Bears friends, he's a fan of the Bears, excuse me. He hit me up. He's like, man, great signing. He's a super, super talented guy all around. But he obviously immediately went to health with him. Yep. And, he said the same thing about Khalil Mack. And I think the thing is, though, with these Bears fans, I think they tend to like to say, well, he's a injury-prone linebacker because he had,
same thing about
got injured last year, but at the same side, like it's everybody gets injured, and I get it. Right, and sometimes with like a signing like this with Bryce Callahan, he's coming into a system that's going to have so much depth, and he's just going to be an additional piece added to the team. Even 100%. If he's like a CB3 or a CB4, he's going to be relied on, obviously, as a CB3. Right.
Yeah.
But even as a CB4, it's going to give him just enough flexibility to where he's not going to be on the field all the time, and he's not going to be relied on all the time. But I'll say a thing about Bryce Callahan. He's an electric player when he's on the field. That's correct. Watching some of his highlights, like one thing I really loved about him is that he had a really good way to be able to track the ball and jumps the underneath routes very well. Yep. And I think he has a very, very keen eye to go after the ball. And the best part of it is he comes from Fangio's defense, which I believe he even talked about heavily, that I'm bred and born from the Fangio defense.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really, really huge for us to be able to add that piece that he could just jump in and just be a part of the whole entire defense. It's not much of a learning curve for the guy. So
yeah.
What are some of the things that you guys ended up seeing about him?
Yeah, Kyle, what do you think?
Honestly, like I'm freaking stoked about him joining our team because, I mean, last year he was pretty much out for like half the year or whatever, you know. But like, just like James said, that's injuries are just gonna happen. Like, there's no getting around it, and like it's a rough sport, but that's kind of also why we kind of like to watch it because we like to see people hit each other, you know.
Correct.
And so like, I mean, and sometimes you get hit back. So but honestly, like he's amazing because 2 years ago he was the number 3 cornerback in the entire league. And he was absolutely a lockdown cornerback. That is, sometimes it sounds like I'm saying quarterback, you know, like
cornerback. Yes,
that's right. But
defensive back, quarterback, cornerback. Yeah,
D-back?
very
exactly
similar.
correct.
Don't want to say D-back because you know that sounds a little bit too close.
D-back.
Yeah. But I'm looking at his PFF grades and stuff. He has really high numbers for his coverage. So like he prevents passes a lot, and he blocks a lot, and so he's going to be amazing for us in that defensive back core that we have. Man, the Jack Boys is back here. You know, like they're going to lock it up, man.
Man, we don't want those whack boys that we had, you know, last year, man. Holy moly.
Campbell. Oh my gosh, he got burned, man. And it's clear. I think his days are numbered in Sandy. Actually, we haven't released him yet. I don't know if that I haven't
still
seen.
On the team. He is
okay.
He's still there, yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. It was so funny. I read so many articles about him, Callahan being signed, and I kept thinking, man, you know, Campbell's gone. I mean, he'll probably be regulated to a practice squad guy at the point, you know. I mean, you never know. They might even let him go. I mean, who knows?
Or at least special teams, you know. He could probably be on there for special teams and stuff. We always need some more dudes in that area.
For sure.
Yep.
I had a couple thoughts about him. You know, Bryce Callahan, you know, he kind of reminds me of Jason Verrett. Remember Jason Verrett?
Yes.
I was thinking exactly the same thing.
Yeah. He reminds me of Jason Verrett, right?
Yeah.
Jason Verrett was fantastic when he was on the field. But when he couldn't do anything when he's off the field. He was always injured, right? Yeah. And so, you know, again, one of the things you can never plan for is injuries. It is what it is, right? That's just part of the game. But it just goes to highlight to all of us and all of us Charger fans what Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco are doing with this team is just building so much depth across the board in every position. And making sure we have enough people. Hey, if things happen, great. Next man up. Let's go for it. I mean, look at last year. We had Storm Norton step in for Brian Bulaga.
Yeah.
That guy, how many games did he even play for us in 2 years? What, it was like 1, maybe 2 games total? You know, I mean, it's unbelievable. And it's his injury. It is what it is, right? He couldn't go. Mm-hmm. So, again, depth is a huge thing. So, now I'm really excited. And everything I've read about him, a lot of Bronco fans are pretty upset that he's gone.
Yeah.
Because he's electric. He's a good guy. So, and my other thought, too, is, and we've highlighted this in the past on our last video specifically, that we're probably going to run a lot of nickel and dime this year, right? 5 men on the line, maybe 1 linebacker. Mm-hmm. You know, might even bring Derwin James down in the box, you know, to do some edge rushing or whatever. Because I think they're going to have all kinds of different packages, lots of speed packages, and they're going to pick apart teams each week. To me, that's exciting, right? Because I think, you know, if we're probably going to run differently on like a running quarterback, like a Lamar Jackson. I guarantee to you, we're probably going to have a lot more corners in that game because they're fast and they can track him down. So again, he will be used, but I think they'll be used selectively depending on what we think we're going to come into the game plan with. So very exciting to see that. I like the pickup. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Great pickup.
Yeah.
Great pickup.
Fantastic. Yeah. Stoked to have him. We definitely need that there. So, yeah, man, he's going to be good for us.
Yeah, exactly. Bolt Bros. Well, let's talk a little bit about Kyle Vannoy, right? And I know I did a reaction video, and guys, thank you so much for the likes and subs. Every guys, anytime you guys say anything, I love to engage with you guys. I know we had a really nice, conversation on that video, and Kyle Vannoy is just a stud. I mean, I talked about this quite a bit on the video. I don't really want to repeat myself a whole lot, but James, why don't you maybe start us off on thoughts on Kyle Vannoy being signing, and then we'll go to Kyle, and I can wrap up that thought.
Cool.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting about Kyle Vannoy, I remember when he came out in the draft, there was a lot of rumors that the Chargers were going after him and wanted to draft him back then. And, it's just interesting how it just comes back around at some point in time. And to be honest, man, when I started hearing about these rumors about Kyle Vannoy coming to the Chargers, I was like, dude, wow, I kind of thought like, all right, draft is over with. We don't have a whole heck of a lot of salary cap left. I guess this is the team we're going with. And then you start hearing the Bryce Callahan signing, and then you hear about Kyle Vannoy signing.
Vannoy.
Like, holy moly.
Amazing.
Like,
just gets better.
Adding a depth piece like that is incredibly huge for our team. And I don't mean just for his skill set. Yeah. I also it's another championship based guy coming to this team.
Locker room guy.
Yep.
He's been there. He's won them. And
twice.
We need more guys like that.
Yep,
I'm sorry. And I kind of almost look at it a little bit almost like the Von Miller pickup for the Rams in a weird way.
Or Eric Weddle.
Guy.
Eric Weddle last year too.
Eric Weddle, yeah. Well, yeah, what a dream situation for him,
Exactly.
Sitting on the couch, goes in, plays the Super Bowl, wins.
Man comes off the couch just to win a Super Bowl kick. You're just like, all right.
Exactly. Hey, but good for him, though. He's been chasing it his whole career, right? He got it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But with Kyle Vannoy, man, it's one thing that I've looked at, and I've always been a big fan of him for a really, really long time, is that his stats were almost identical to Uchenna Nwosu last year's. Yeah. So, and he didn't even play a full time as a starter with the Pats too. So really odd to look at that and think about, wow, Nwosu, I really enjoyed him. And I think he did a really good job in the second half of the season. He started to figure himself out. But Kyle Vannoy had very similar stats, not even being a starter. And so, which is crazy. So 62 combined tackles with Vannoy, 42 solo. Nwosu had 40 combined, 16 assists, 8 tackles for a loss. Vannoy had 5. 7 quarterback hits with Vannoy versus 17 with Nwosu, probably because he was on the field a lot more. Sure. But each had 5 sacks, 1 pick. And so we're getting a guy that was at the same level as Nwosu at a much less price, and a guy that's won multiple championships. Yeah, love it. Right. Great signing. So I think it's a great addition to this team, and definitely a very needed position for this team. And the thing is, he's versatile too. So he could go DN, he could go linebacker. Yep. Perfect. I think that's what Staley wants with all of his players. So
that's exactly correct. No one-trick ponies. No one-trick ponies.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Kyle, anything about KVN?
KVN.
Oh man, well I know for sure. I think I'm gonna start. I'm gonna get his jersey as soon as I can. It's that's right, because it's literally my name plus Vannoy. It's all good.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's right.
I mean, I remember actually watching him play in college a lot because we were going to the games and at college and seeing him light up people. I knew he was a stud all the way back then. So I'm really excited to have him. And I think also, just like Bryce Callahan, he actually has really high coverage grades as well, at least from last year. And so, I mean, obviously, that's kind of what I think our coach is doing with all of the defensive players. He wants coverage protection because
correct.
What I see the scheme doing for Staley is that he wants to shut down quarterbacks. This time I am saying quarterbacks, because you look at how the way the league is going. Our division alone has 20,000 yards passing every season. So, at least close to enough. And obviously, something's got to give there. Passing is the number one offensive weapon. So let's shut that down. If we can get them to be 200 yards on us in a game, dude, that's a really good shape right there. So I just like you guys are saying, is like he plays the outside, he can play the inside, and I think he's going to be amazing for us. And like I've been talking about a while. I was like, I knew we needed a linebacker in the draft, and I'm actually much happier that we got a veteran for our linebacking core because he's going to be able to know the schemes. He's going to be able to work with Drew Tranquil, make him better. Chris Rumpf and Kyler Murray. They're all going to be better because of his leadership. That's what I'm really most excited about.
Yeah. Yeah, and guys, if you haven't seen the interview with Haley Elwood, it's amazing. Not only is she easy on the eyes, but it's fun. It's fun getting them interviews. You know what I mean? And look, Kyle Vannoy is a great guy. Yeah. I had an interesting thought. I thought about this after the fact. After I did my last video, I thought about him a lot. Think about, you got Bill Belichick, and then you got Brandon Staley. They could not be more opposite type of coaches.
That's true.
Think about that.
Yeah.
We're talking old school and we're talking completely new school. Let me be very clear. The league has really looked at Brandon Staley and said, he's the future of the NFL. I mean, again, a lot of these head coaches are becoming much younger, more inventive, and more thinking outside the box. And that's what Brandon Staley does very well. And again, it will be very interesting to see how he's actually utilized moving forward. I would suspect, and you brought up a really good point there, Kyle, that he's a very good coverage linebacker. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be shocked if they manned him up against a tight end. Said, fine.
Absolutely.
You're the linebacker. You cover Waller. You cover, just a tight end or whoever's coming out of the backfield.
Right.
I could see him being that guy because I think he's a very good coverage linebacker as well. Yep. Again, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa are primarily going to be our edge rushers for the most part. But what if they go down? Or what if one of them gets injured, gets a little hitch in their giddy up? Mm-hmm. At least you're not missing a major beat at that moment. You have another veteran you could bring in and go from there. So I really love it. I mean, I personally think Kyle Vannoy is an extremely great pickup. And just like you highlighted, Kyle and James, is that he's a veteran, right? Yep. We need veteran presences. We need people in there that can get us over the hump in the playoffs and push us into the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And guys, I mean, when I think about our defense this year, oh my gosh. And we did offensively last year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, offensively, we were fifth in the league in total yards. But again, you think of the stats of how much we gave up. So I think we averaged 29 points a game, but we gave up 27?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hence why we had so many close games.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Anyways, it's something to think about, but guys, I'm just excited. I know he's going to be there, and I really suspect that we're going to see some interesting formations, a lot of man coverage, a lot of I think Brandon Staley is going to be very creative this year if he feels very comfortable with his team. Okay, so one of the thoughts I had, and I know we guys on this channel, I'm not joking. We talk about the Chargers 24/7. We literally are going back and forth and giving each other, articles and videos and stuff. We talk about it all the time. So, I mean, we live and breathe and die the Chargers at this point, right?
I love
the one thing that I want to, it's all good.
I got electricity in my blood now, man. It's just like
you're electro. I love it.
Electro, baby.
But I know there was this interesting little picture that kind of showed about the amount of pieces added to the defense.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to highlight that. So, Kyle, during the editing process, put that up if you can. Sure. But you think about it. We had Nwosu. We got Khalil Mack. We got Harris. Yeah. Now we got J.C. Jackson. Linville Joseph, Sebastian Joseph Day. Justin Jones, Austin Johnson. Back row, Kyle Vannoy. Alohi Gilman, J.T. Woods. Tavon Campbell, Bryce Callahan.
Right.
Yeah.
If that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. I mean, I saw that, and it had never really occurred to me how amazing that is. And again, if we can make that other team one-dimensional, you will not lose. You will not lose, especially with a slinger like we got.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts, guys, on that little blip, little picture that we looked at?
When you read about that, it kind of gives you a little bit of goosebumps because it's like, man, we upgraded everything and we gutted everything out.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
How many times are a team that says like, "Hey, I'm going to reset a whole side of my team," essentially, and get all upgrades everywhere? Like
100%.
That's the craziest part of this. It's like, where's the gap in this defense for the offense that they're going against? Like, who are they going to pin towards to be able to like get some yards? Like, there is so much talent on this team right now. I have not seen this, and I'm going to say and I keep referring back to the mid 2000 Chargers defenses, where we might even be better than some of those defenses. That was one of the top defenses in the league, and I think was number 1 in the league when we went 14-2. So
100%.
I mean, this could be awesome as a season coming up. Like, I'm so excited to see how this works. And the thing is, what's cool about it, like a lot of our starters too are guys that have been in the system outside of Austin Johnson and JC Jackson. Those are the two. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Khalil Mack, he worked with Brandon Staley and everything at Chicago and everything. So he understands his coaching style and such, but there's not a lot of guys that are coming in that are brand new that don't know the system. Sebastian Joseph Day is essentially in that system. He knows.
He already understands it.
Yeah. So Bryce Callahan,
Troy Reader too.
Reader, Khalil Mack knows the system as well, you know. So
exactly great.
Yeah.
We have picked up so many players. We're even forgetting about certain other veterans like Troy Reader. Troy Reader is fantastic. He was a good linebacker, very solid linebacker. So, Anyways, amazing.
It's crazy. It's nuts to watch, and it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to. And actually, there was a chat thread. People were talking about, hey, what should we name our defense? You know, all that kind of stuff. And I put up there, I said electric fence. People started liking that. I was like, it's going to be, this is the electric fence.
That's
so
right.
I think we got to stick with that.
Yeah, that's the electric fence, man. I'm telling you, I'm not joking, man.
We got to put that on some shirts real quick.
Oh, for sure.
Electric fence. I love it. Kyle, what are your thoughts on our defense? You know, our newly revamped defense. That little picture, man. I tell you, amazing. I get you some goosebumps.
I mean, heck yeah, dude. I mean, look, we basically kept 4 players on our defense exactly as they were: Joey Bosa, Asante Samuel, Derwin James, and Nasir Adderley. That's it. You know, like out of the 11 players on our side, we replaced 7 of them, and that's incredible. So, man, and we got like a ton of depth. Like literally, I feel like honestly, like the free agency was designed by Staley and Tom Telesco to address the defense, and I kind of really felt like that the draft was there to address the offense, and we literally mulliganed everything. And we filled literally every hole that we had last year. And now, like, we made it stronger, better, faster. I mean, oh my gosh. Like, and people, you know, people are like, oh, well, this guy's old, that guy's old. And dude, age is just a number, baby. You know, like look, like, if you say that to Keenan Allen's face, he's gonna freaking light you up, dude. He's gonna break both your ankles. Like, you know, like you say that in front of like, you know, Joey Bosa. I mean, he's not that old, you know, but like, dude, Khalil Mack, he'll freaking like dump you, dude. Like, come on.
Oh my gosh.
Like, people trying to say like that 30 is old in the NFL. They better recognize, fools. You know, like, come on now. This is not. Oh. I don't know, I'm jazzed, dude. I'm jacked, baby.
Well, so I did have one thought. Oh, go ahead, James. We're going to say something?
No, I was just saying electric fence, baby.
Electric fence, baby. I had one last thought, and then we could talk a little bit about the undrafted free agents. But, you know, it's interesting. I was thinking about Bryce Callahan. It just kind of made me think of it just right now. What would happen if Mike Davis didn't make the team, right? Like, what if – I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a fantastic corner. We know that. But what if Bryce Callahan takes his spot? I don't know. You got to wonder, right? I mean, he's already on the team. You know, I've been reading a little bit of articles that I think the Chargers might be a little bit less hyped on him at this point.
Sure.
You got to wonder, right? So it's a conversation that we need to keep in mind and we need to keep looking at. But the crazy thing is he's also on a team of amazing players, right? So, you know, I don't know. It'll be interesting. And he's getting paid, what, $7 million next year too? So, I think there's a good chance that, it will be an interesting topic during training camp this year for sure.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing too, when you go on ESPN and looking at the depth chart for the Chargers, they have Michael Davis sitting behind J.C. Jackson, and then Asante Samuel being the left cornerback, and then Bryce Callahan behind Asante Samuel. So it is interesting to see how that looks right now. Now, once again, we're going to have a very defensive backfield, or excuse me, a lot of defensive backs in our backfield. That was kind of hard to be able to say.
Yeah, defensive backs in the backfield.
So, I mean, it could be just a rotation between Bryce Callahan and Michael Davis's CB3 or CB4.
Sure.
So it's going to kind of flex between both of them. And the thing is, though, Bryce Callahan could essentially take over Michael Davis's job, and he could be that CB3 permanent. I don't know. But once again, this is going to be all camp situations, camp battles for sure.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting. It's just exciting to know that we could even look at the guy at CB3, CB4 thinking, man, that's another guy that can make plays for us kind of thing. Like, that's exciting to think about. We rarely go past like the starters.
Yep.
And so it's exciting to know that we have that depth, and that's obviously was a huge factor for how our season ended. And one thing too, I thought about, one of my friends told me about this. He's like, I think the Chargers are really ticked off that they lost to the Raiders in the end of the season.
Absolutely.
Big time.
Yeah,
they don't want that to happen
I know
again.
they are.
You bring that
Our
up,
rivalry
man.
team,
You bring that
we do not like to lose our rivalry team. We hate the Raiders. We know that.
Yeah, we don't want to see that again.
Nope.
And and I don't think Brandon Staley wants to see that. And personally, in my opinion, like, this team is minimum AFC Championship. Minimum AFC Championship.
I agree with that.
I agree.
They're going all in on this,
1,000%.
and this is a minimum AFC Championship team. So I'm excited. I just can't wait for the season to start. It sucks that it's only May. And so
I know, right?
I know.
Really,
I thought about that today when we were thinking about this episode. I was like, oh my God, like, we got way too much time for the season. But again, guys, just so you know, we're going to be talking about preseason. We're going to be talking about training camp, what's happening in camp, who's getting hot, who's not getting hot, rumors, all the above, right? So, that's kind of the whole point of this channel, right? And again, we want to engage with the fan base and continue having conversations with you guys, right? So, it's exciting. And again, I think that there's going to be a lot of interesting things coming out of camp for sure. I do think, and we'll talk more about what we think is really going to happen moving forward with the offense and defense, in later videos as well too. Yep. So.
All pros.
All right, so let's switch to another part of our topic here is really the undrafted guys that we think have a shot of making the Chargers roster. And I think my initial thoughts is what we've already talked about in free agency. We picked up a lot of players. There's not a lot of room in the end, guys, right? There's just not many spots to fill. I mean, we talk about depth. We already picked, 8 people out of the draft, right? They're probably going to stay. These undrafted free agents, how many can make it? I don't even know, right? I mean, probably not a lot, right? So we highlighted a few players we think actually could fit and potentially make the team. Now, again, this is just our first thoughts right out of the gate. Agree, disagree, and if there are people that you think that we've missed that really could make the team, put it down below. Let us know. Highlight. Throw a name out there, maybe show us a video, whatever you want, right? We love that idea because, again, these are people we looked at and we thought have a good shot. So, James, why don't you start us off picking a couple of the folks, and then we'll just kind of do a round robin on our general thoughts on the folks that we decided to pick.
Yeah, most definitely. And the one thing, too, I mean, some of these guys, once again, we have, I think, 16 slots for practice squad. And so I kind of look at these guys as like practice squad guys. Yeah. I would love it if one of these guys end up being, a J.C. Jackson, an undrafted free agent kind of guy that ends up being top cornerback in the league. And I'd love to be able to see things like that happen. And one thing that's just kind of an interesting thing with the undrafted guys, there was a whole heck of a lot of cornerbacks again on that list.
Yep.
I mean, Brandon Staley really loves those guys. So he loves that position and he wants to always build that position. But, one guy that kind of popped up to me, and maybe this seems very unpopular, but one guy that kind of just popped out to me was Isaac Weaver, the center from Old Dominion. And why I kind of think that could be a good position is because really we only have two guys that really will be able to be kind of dedicated centers for us with Corey Linsley and Will Clapp.
Right.
So I always look at it like, hey, build more depth as possible, or as much we could possibly add to this team. And I think with a guy that's 6'6", 310, that's a huge center.
That's great.
I mean, you could essentially put in Zion to center, and they've kind of even had some conversations about putting him over there when maybe Corey Linsley moves on, or if he does move on, or whenever he does move on. But a guy that size is pretty solid to be able to have on the team. And the thing about him, and going back to Brendan Staley's philosophy, he wants just not a one-note kind of guy. He wants a guy that can play up and down the line, and that's what Isaac Weaver can do. So it sounds like he's not the most agile or strongest guy out there or whatnot, but at the same side, those are things that could build up, and you could figure that out. As long as you got the fundamental length of arms, the size, the experience on the line, I think he could be one of those guys that could find a way on this team somewhere or another through practice squad or whatnot. So that's one I'll keep an eye on for sure. So, I mean, I don't really care to watch much preseason, but at the same side, I'll watch a little bit just to kind of see some of these guys and how they're kind of moving along. So Isaac Weaver, I think he's one to look at.
Yeah.
Kyle, what about you?
I actually was pretty stoked to see that we actually did get a wide receiver after all. Of course, Chris Olave was my guy that I really wanted, but he was not available. But hell, in the regular draft, we didn't even pick up another single wide receiver, but did get one in the undrafted. So we got Trayvon Bradford out of Oregon State. So obviously, I mean, his numbers aren't like outstanding like many other players were, and that's why he undrafted. But I see him as a possible addition to but maybe not like as obviously he would be like maybe like a third wide receiver or slots or something like that, so kind of back up Keenan Allen a little bit.
He's a little small. He's a little 5'9".
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem. He's a little bit small on that on size side, but hey, you know what? He could just be shifty or something like.
Exactly correct.
Get the it's all you got to do is the wide receiver break some ankles and good. Like just get that separation. But he actually did put up a pretty decent speed times. That's 4.52. And that's. Hey, that ain't nothing to shake a stick at, Hey,
faster than me.
Yeah, faster than me. Hey,
man, that's right.
As long, hey, you know what? Hey,
for sure.
You can do a 4.5 if
that ain't saying much though. Just so you know, guys, that ain't saying much.
I bet you could do a 4.5 if you didn't pull your hamstring. You know what I'm saying?
That's probably true. That's probably true. Yeah. Oh shoot.
Hammy.
But he could also be a good development player, obviously for kickoff returns.
Sure.
Yep. And so, I don't know. I can definitely see him joining the team because of his a little bit of versatility that he's got. So you can just develop him a little bit more, and we'll see what shakes out. Do you guys have any thoughts on this guy?
Yeah,
depth,
speed, depth, special teams. I mean, that's kind of where these guys have to find a way to get on this team is through special teams. And if he's got a leg up on some of these guys, I mean, you think about DeAndre Carter's a guy that we signed for punt return, kick return, is also a wide receiver.
Yep.
And then behind that is like you got Guyton, who's obviously going to probably stick on the team. Yep. Michael Bandy is another guy that played a little bit last year for us. And then Roundtree is another dude there too. So now, once again, I wouldn't say that this guy's got to be able to come in here and just, be on the actual 53-man squad.
Sure.
But he's going to be one of those guys that could find a way, maybe based upon some injuries, once again, that comes around, that he finds his way and sneaks his way into it sometime during the year. So I think he'd be an interesting one just to watch.
For sure. And definitely someone we're going to track in preseason as well, too, right?
Yep.
And make no mistake about it, guys. A lot of these undrafted players will probably play in the preseason games, right?
Yep.
We all know that we have a lot of depth, so a lot of these players probably will not make the team. But if they perform well and we don't have a spot for them, guess what? These other teams will pick them up because there's a lot of teams out there that need a lot of work.
Yep.
And thank God right now the Chargers aren't that team right now, so that's a good thing for us being Charger fans. So
for sure.
Yeah, I got one other guy that I think is great is Ty Shelby, edge rusher from
all right.
University of Louisiana Monroe, right? And it's funny because remember we talked about, well, I think we talked about this on our draft board. Everyone we picked up was from big schools, right? Old Dominion, smaller school, Louisiana Monroe, not really a huge school. But he played well. He only played 19 games, 146 total tackles, 25 for loss, 12 sacks, a forced fumble. And he models his game after Joey Bosa, a big dude. So, I mean, again, depth of edge rusher is important, right? Because, again, we just don't know how injuries are going to stack up, right? And, I think it's great to show that we're still picking up people to add more depth. I think that's again, the whole point of this is to add more depth, right? We don't have to pay big dollars, but we can bring a guy in that can get a couple snaps, understand our defense, and potentially be productive. So I think that guy has a pretty good shot because, again, we already talked about Kyle Vannoy. We have Rump and a few other folks. But at the end of the day, I think, that's a pretty good spot that we could use as depth moving forward. And maybe even a special teams guy, right? Maybe he does very well in special teams and, starts hitting fools pretty hard. So I think that might not be a bad idea. But, James, Kyle, what do you think on old Ty Shelby?
It's just an addition to a position that we need help on. I'm not saying a lot of help, but it's one of those guys that would be a good project guy. I mean, it is kind of crazy to look at his stats that in 19 games, he did almost 12 sacks, forced fumble, 146 tackles. That's very, very active in 19 games. So on paper, you start looking at that and you think, man, this guy could be something that you kind of could add to the team that could develop into something. I'm not saying he's going to be the starter or anything like that, but hey, man, these undrafted guys come in with chips on their shoulders, and I'd love to be able to see that be a motivator for him. So maybe he was one of those guys that was really hoping to be able to get drafted and did not. Cool thing too, he gets on the team that he models his game after Joey Bosa. So
exactly,
he could learn from his guy that he loves.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, once again, that's another guy we just want to take a look at, and preseason will be interesting to see how they all pan out.
Right. And it's interesting too because actually this article, on Chargers Wire, actually puts him in as an edge, but the College Football Reference guide lists him as a defensive end. So he could actually be battling more for Jerry Tillery's position. More than Joey Bosa's or whatever. So, I mean he's a sack machine, man. I'm down for that. Another rusher to really just push in there. Let's freaking go, dude. Let's make this happen.
Yeah. And one other stat, he's extremely fast, right? He's in the 98.8 percentile in the 10-yard split, right? That guy is fast.
Yeah.
So he could be some sort of hybrid guy. Again, one of the things that we've emphasized this so many times, we don't continue beating a dead horse, depth, but giving us the ability to have some additional folks moving forward, right? But I think either way, he's a guy to watch out for, right? So I'm kind of excited to see what he can do, moving forward. I know you had one other person, James, you wanted to talk about, and we can kind of wrap up some of the undrafted free agent discussions. Yeah. Who's the other guy we got on our list?
In tight end, we had a couple tight ends, the USC tight end, and then there was this other one from Old Dominion, though, too. And kind of the reason why I brought him up is it's interesting. Stone Smart is his name. He's from tight end from Old Dominion. He's got 4.62 speed, good measurables, but he actually started as a quarterback, was moved to wide receiver, and then eventually a tight end.
All over the place. Yeah.
He's all over the place. Now, that's kind of a weird thing to kind of look at, that he's had so many positions which you're thinking, man, he's just got the measurables to do something, but we just don't know exactly where to put him kind of thing. But the same side, if we get the guy where he's 4.62, he could block and he could catch the ball pretty well at tight end. Hey, I'm all game for that. Let's go with that. I wouldn't mind adding that to the team. I kind of feel like with Parham being that one guy where Parham's a huge target. Yeah. And to be honest, man, our team kind of shifted a lot when he went down. And
agreed.
It really did.
Adding a guy like this that we could just kind of as another project. Once again, he's I mean, Parham was an undrafted guy, was in the XFL in LA too for a bit, and then eventually just found his way with the Chargers. I mean, we got Trey McKinney, we got Gerald Everett, obviously. He could be one of those guys that finds his way. As long as he's going to be a good blocker, I think is going to be his key. He needs to figure out how to block. I think that's the one thing that we might be lacking a little bit in our tight end room. I heard Trey McKinney was kind of getting a little bit better as the year went, but I think that's where he's going to win his way onto this team, is if he could find a way to block. I think that he has a good chance to be able to get some position. And once again, I'm saying practice squad because our squad's way too deep right now. Sure. And there's a lot of great there's not a whole heck of a lot of holes to fill on our team. So that's just one that I saw, and I was thinking, hey, good project kind of guy, good addition as a project guy. So
for sure.
What do you think there, Kyle?
Yeah, man. I mean, we got some really solid, like I think we've talked about it before too. Is like our tight end core is just deep. You know, like we got a lot of players there. Like, who was the guy that we picked up from Seattle again? The tight end
Everett.
Yeah, Everett. I mean, no, he's going to be a stud for us and stuff. And
for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm excited about him.
Yeah, so we're excited about him. All these tight ends there, like, man, okay, I don't know. It's going to be hard for me to think that one of them is actually going to stick on the team. But, you know, hey, like you said, like when one of these guys goes down, that really does kind of put the rest of the team in a funk. So it's important to have these guys because, you know, if nothing else, you just need someone to help that right side maybe. Like, I mean, I'm still a little shaky about that right side because, you know, we didn't really seem like we got another offensive tackle in the draft besides Sawyer. But maybe they'll shift him over there. I'm excited to see though, like what we've got going on with all these guys. I don't know. I mean, I'm not too thrilled about the tight end pickups there, to be honest. But that's just me. So.
Yep. Well, and it's an interesting position, right? Those are guys that can also play special teams. You know, they're big bodies, they're fast, they can do different things, right? And again, if they want to make the squad, that's probably what they're going to have to do, right? You know, right. And again, one of the things I would say too, it's funny, the theme I see from like this entire list of players across the board, they're undersized. Maybe they're a little slow.
Sure.
Right. They're not big. They're maybe don't have the best hands or they don't block well. There's little things that they do wrong that brings them down the list, right? Correct?
Right.
So, again, that's why the first round picks are so premium because you're getting players that are usually ready game day one, right? Yeah. And they're going to play with the runs right out of the gate. But really it boils down to how they handle themselves, what they do in free agent or oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? Why am I drawing a blank? Hey, preseason game. Yeah, you know, in training camp, right? So those are things that really matter and getting them there. I mean, look at Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler, undrafted free agent, way undersized, didn't have the best speed, but his game day speed is fantastic, and he worked his ass off. I mean, let's make no mistake about it. He worked his ass off. He earned that spot. He earned everything that he has, and so we're thankful for him for that. Yeah. And one other guy we want to talk about, Eric Kramanokic from USC, right? Am I saying like Kramanokic? Yeah. Anyways, from USC, big school, but again, he was definitely a blocker, right? Didn't really have the best hands.
Sure.
More of a blocker, an interesting guy to talk about. But again, he went to a big school, probably was a pretty high recruit because he went to USC, but someone we should maybe discuss.
Yeah.
Again, these are things that we're going to continue watching moving forward, during preseason, during training camp, and figuring things out as well, too. Again, it's really exciting to see what the Chargers are doing. And, maybe we could wrap up a little bit here. I know, we just – look, we upgraded our defense in free agency, okay? We added depth through the draft, okay? Now we're adding additional veteran talent through free agency after the draft. I mean, are you kidding me, guys? Like this is such an exciting moment in Chargers history. Like, it blows my mind because, look, one of the frustrating things about the Chargers that I've always seen is they never really built a team around a quarterback, and I think Brandon Staley has changed that mentality. And also there's motivation because guess what? The Rams won a Super Bowl in the stadium that we play in, right? So we need to battle for LA. And so it's very clear we're making our stand now on Justin Herbert's rookie contract, and we're going to push hard to get into the Super Bowl this year and make a statement. I mean, how amazing that'd be if it was the Chargers and the Rams in the Super Bowl. How sick would that be?
How amazing.
I'm not even joking. I thought about that last night. I'm like, oh my God, that would be absolutely incredible. So again, we can all daydream. We can all think about different scenarios in our brain, in our minds, and whatever. But yeah, so James, we'll pass to you. What are your final thoughts? On this week's episode.
And just to kind of say, with the undrafted guys, I mean, once again, it's total crapshoot on where they're going to go, and maybe the guys that we're even pinning don't even work out at all. And to be honest, it's a great example that you brought up about Austin Eckler. I mean, I remember necessarily when he came in with under Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn had no idea who the dude was. He didn't even know his name. And then eventually got on the field. I think it was the 4th preseason game at that time, and then ended up just making an impact at that point. And I think Eckler had number 1 on his jersey and such. So it was kind of like when you're an offensive guy, usually at a low number like that, you probably have a very low chance to be able to even make it. And
correct, yeah.
He basically made the best of his opportunity. So you would want these guys to come in here with like chips on their shoulders and make sure that they just go on there and just work their way to be able to get to this job. I mean, this is a job interview for them.
Yeah,
correct. It's exciting for these guys to have this opportunity, and hopefully they seize this opportunity. I did want to say something about Kyle Vannoy too. I know we chatted about him a while back. He has obviously the connections with BYU, with Michael Davis, and then obviously with J.C. Jackson. And one thing that he chatted a lot about with him is, man, what's it like over there with the Chargers? And he chatted with a ton of people within the team: Derwin, Michael Davis, J.C. Jackson. I believe in Khalil Mack, I believe too.
Yep.
And chatted with them, and they all were like, "You better get out here, man. This is where you need to be, man." And so
that's awesome.
Nothing but high marks for basically Brandon Staley. And once again, Brandon Staley wants championship level guys, and he's done it again. And I'm so excited about the season. I can't wait for the season to start. I cannot wait.
I dream about it, man. It's unbelievable. It's bad. I need therapy because I think about it all the time. It's not good. It's not good. I'm not joking. It's like I sit back and think about, oh my God, this is gonna be amazing. It's unbelievable. I need a tattoo. I'm gonna get a tattoo. Chargers win a Super Bowl. I'm gonna get a Charger tramp stamp tattoo.
I might
take that to the bank.
I wouldn't throw that out there, but
I might do that too, man. Hey, you know what? I might join you.
Doing it. Not doing it.
Okay, maybe not. We'll see what happens.
Well, my final thoughts are this. I just looked up our current roster. I'm not including all the current drafted players, but we have 28 players on our team that are undrafted. That were undrafted.
That's a lot.
Some of the top players on our team were undrafted players. Like starting from the oldest to youngest right now, we had Josh Harris. We just picked up the kicker, right? And then freaking Matt Filer was undrafted. DeAndre Carter was undrafted. Bryce Callahan was undrafted. Freaking Storm Norton was undrafted. Austin Eckler, J.C. Jackson, not Will Clapp, Jalen Guyton, Donald Parham, all undrafted, and a whole bunch of others and stuff too. So, look, just because they weren't drafted, does not mean that they are not quality players. I think that's the thing that I want to think. Any one of these team players that are now on the undrafted list, they all have the potential to get on the team. They just gotta work for it. They gotta work harder.
They gotta prove it.
Yeah,
they gotta prove it.
Now, and I hope that a lot of them have a chip on their shoulder now. They're like, look. Maybe some of them are like, hey, I was supposed to go 5th round, 6th round at least, but I didn't get drafted. Now, you know what? I'm going to prove them all wrong. I'm going to get on this team, and that's just the way it's going to be. And that was Austin Eckler. He had to fight for every yard that he actually made. And he's constantly doing the same thing. He's constantly working out. He's constantly making himself better. It's just, even if it's just 1% a day. Actually, I think he's such a workhorse. He's probably making himself 5% better every single day.
Every single day. That guy's a workaholic. That guy is amazing.
Freaking love
his work ethic's incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
You know the guy I thought about on there that you discussed, and then we'll wrap up here, guys.
Right.
Jamari Slater, right? Or Sailor. Remember? So he dropped what, 6? Salyer?
Yeah.
Salyer.
Yeah.
He dropped to what, 6th round?
Yeah.
6th round?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big 6'9" out of Georgia.
Yep.
And I remember he was very vocal on all of his social media saying, I'm gonna kick ass.
Yeah.
And he's frustrated that he went down to 6, because I think he initially thought he would go maybe 3rd.
Yeah.
Maybe even 2nd. I mean, and he saw all of his Georgia buddies get drafted way ahead of him.
Way ahead of him.
Yeah.
Way ahead of him. I mean, he might have been one of the last major Georgia guy to even get drafted.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Guys, he could be our right tackle.
Yeah.
What's that?
He was a captain.
And he was a captain at Georgia too.
Exactly correct.
Crazy.
I promise you that guy is sitting there thinking, damn, I have got to prove myself. I am going to be that right tackle. I'm going to do whatever I got to do.
Yep.
I mean, he's obviously going to be on the team. We're not going to let him go. Obviously, he's our, he's a drafted player. But, but I'll say this: I promise you, he's going to step in, and I think he could be the one guy that we could definitely see really move up the ranks pretty fast. And again, these undrafted players, and you did a great job highlighting that, Kyle, because really, you're right. It's not just about what you've done in the past. It's what you're doing forward. How do you pick up the offense? How do you pick up the defense? How do you actually work in the team? And, one thing you talked about, James, was that a lot of our players are recruiting other players, right?
Yeah.
Vannoy. It is extremely clear that what happened in Brandon Staley's first year of being head coach, he has created a team atmosphere that people want to play for. That has extreme value across the board. And the good news is, we got a stud quarterback. I mean, think about that. No matter what, we are going to score points. It doesn't matter. You're not going to stop us. It's because remember the Chiefs always score points. They always score points.
Yep.
But you've got to stop the other team. And so, guys, I'm just so excited. And I'm really I'm interested to see how these undrafted free agents pan out. We're going to give you as much information as we possibly can.
I just got to say this. You're saying a lot of people want to play for Staley. I'm ready. I'm warming up.
Let's go, baby.
I'm warming up right now. I've been working out. He coach said, "Hey, I want you guys to be gym rats." I just right before here, I just got back from the gym. I'm ready to go.
There you go. Dig deep. Dig deep.
Don't even trip. Don't even trip.
That's right.
That's right.
Oh, I love it. No, really and truly. I mean, but what an amazing leader Brandon Staley is. I love his videos.
Yes.
His little. And he does such a good job of explaining the offense, the defense. This is what we're doing on offense against this team. This is what we're going to do on defense. Both sides of the ball know what's happening. Everyone's involved. Everyone understands the story. Yep. Man, he's again,
good leader.
He's the new type of NFL quarterback that every team is going to have moving forward.
Yep.
And then you got the old Bill Belichick, who's very old school. He's just the way he is, right? And so, it's interesting seeing the change of NFL coaches moving forward. So
100%.
All right, guys. Well, so I think we should wrap up here. Again, please rate, review, drop a like, drop a sub. We're on all the medias. We're on all the medias, guys. We're on all the medias. No, really, and again, we love your comments, right? We want to hear you say something. We want to hear you say, hey, talk about this, talk about that, or this is a great point. Well, what about this guy? I mean, there was another person that we were chatting with on our last video. There's a bunch of right tackle free agents. What's that guy from the Bills? I can't remember his name. Darrell Williams, I think is his name.
Yeah.
And, that came through the chat. And I was like, wow, that guy's a great person we could pick up for right tackle. Who knows? He's there. He was released by the Bills. And so, I want to see these things, right? Help us develop this channel and make the conversations relevant to what we want to hear from you guys as well, too. So, as always, I'm Andrew, joined by my brothers, Kyle and James.
What up?
What up?
The old bros. But again, thanks for listening. Let's get out of here. Bolt Bros, we out.
All right.
Out. See you, Bolt Bros. Let's go.
Okay, guys, welcome and hello to the Bowl Bros. We are the podcast.
Started over again. I was like,
you know what?
They're mumbling in the background.
I was mumbling in the background as soon as you started. So like.
Oh.